Alright, so what's up everyone? As you can see, today we're in BeamNG, and I'm going to do kind of a review video of this truck. Obviously, if you follow my channel, you probably knew this video would be coming at some point, because I just do towing and tow truck stuff. So yeah, let's get into this truck. So, I'm going to talk about a few things here. So, one is going to be the performance of the truck, because I actually did a whole PC upgrade. Not exactly for this truck, but this was like a deciding factor, if that makes sense. And then obviously, I'm just going to talk about some things that I think could be changed to make it better. Alright guys, so I've come back to record this part of the video. I've tried to record this part and figure out how to word it so many times already. Anyways, I'm just going to make this short and sweet. So I did a computer upgrade. My old computer had a 6700K. My new computer, it's a 12900K. So I went from the i7 architecture to the i9, which, many generations difference basically. But something to mention for the ones thinking of getting this truck, this could help you figure out if your computer will be able to run it or not. My 6700K i7, it's a quad core processor, could not run this truck above 40 frames. Even with overclocking, it barely hit 60 at a 4.7 gigahertz overclock. Anyways, needless to say, that processor, quad core with hyperthreading, couldn't run this truck at 60 frames. The processor that I'm using now is a 16 core 24 thread processor. So obviously a big leap from 4 cores 8 threads, so it's a huge increase. Anyways, moving on. Alright, so let's talk about the main point here that's a huge problem for a lot of people with this thing. It's the performance of this truck that a lot of people seem to be hating on. And to be honest with you, the truck is really CPU intensive, and mainly the reason for that, there's so many nodes in beams. So let me just turn on the beams for a second. So this is the beam structure on this thing. I know it doesn't look like a lot just due to the body. The wrecker body and cab, all of it is completely J-beamed how it's supposed to be done. All the wrecker stuff is properly done. And something that people don't really understand, even I had this when I made my rotator upfit for the T-Series, the wrecker boom on this thing, the forces, you set it up high so that you can actually lift things with this thing. Because if they weren't set up high, then what's it gonna do? It's just gonna break like the body in the cab. So just kind of show you, there's some deformation of the cab. So if you didn't have the boom beams set to the strength that they need to be, well, this is what would happen to the boom. The problem with it is your CPU has to process that, and it is harder on the CPU because it's trying to calculate that, and then when you go to lift something with the boom, it has to calculate all of that. Alright, now that we're done with the yap session and other things talking about the CPU intensive part, so I'm going to show you guys this thing driving around. It is actually pretty decent. You'd think for the length of it that it wouldn't be good at steering. It actually is decent for driving. It's easy to handle. It's not hard to drive. It doesn't flip over all the time like you'd think. There you go. Prime example of what it is. It's good driving, good handling, plenty of power for what it is. It's not gonna go 0 to 60 very fast on a hill, but you get the idea. And essentially it's paid mod, but it's only $6, so at the end of the day, it's not very expensive for what it is, especially. I actually expected it to be a lot more than $6, obviously, because something like this, it takes time to make. So we're gonna do a demonstration here of lifting container. But before that, I kind of want to talk about some things that I think could make the truck better. The sheave heads are not modeled properly. So in real life, basically, you wouldn't have brackets coming out here and just this rotating back and forth. Essentially, you have 360-degree rotation like this, and you know this part is connected to the 360-degree rotation. So what it allows that to do is this part will swing to the actual direction. So like right now, if I take this hook, we'll make that point right there, pull the cable that way, you can see the sheave head doesn't go to where the cable is going off the side, because there's no way for this to rotate right now because it's modeled as a bracket, which I've actually broken the boom head a few times doing really heavy lifts with the wrong boom angle because it takes and puts way too much stress on these. Like I said, just, you know, not a bad design, it's just not correct. I'll put it to, we'll leave it that way. It's just not the correct design, and it could help if it was done like a real truck, if that makes sense. But this thing's 61,000 pounds. Like I said, the rotator here in the current config, it's 74,000 pounds. So we're picking up basically, you know, right under the actual truck's weight. So it can lift heavy weight. And then let's just watch this thing tip over. This is the nice thing about the truck that I do like, is the easy to disconnect winches. If I ended up doing, you know, secondhand market on this new computer, I got lucky, but there's some times where you can get scammed pretty easily, but because I didn't want to spend the money on brand new parts, they're way out of proportion, mainly the graphics cards, which I didn't need a graphics card upgrade, but needless to say, if you're going to upgrade the whole motherboard and CPU and all that, you might as well get a new graphics card. I mean, let's be real. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.